and our esteemed colleagues from our partners, the African Development Bank, UNECA, Codesria, and Newmark, and representatives from 23 African countries and beyond, including government officials, researchers, and representatives. And that just represents the diverse mix that was so helpful to bring all the perspectives to this very complicated problem. And I'd also like to extend a big thanks to all of my colleagues at the Rockefeller Foundation, and particularly those in the Nairobi office, for running this wonderful event. And specifically, Mamadou, to you as well. It was really your leadership and vision to help think about translating one of our major goals at the foundation into such a powerful convening that generated all the insights. So I'm very grateful for your leadership for that. And Mamadou's been such a wonderful colleague over the years and such a strong leader at the foundation, although it always bothers me that he manages to always dress better than I do, no matter where we are. And so it's really been an honor to join all of you here. And I just want to take the opportunity to share with you some of the takeaways that I had, again, in that spirit of coming here to learn versus learning back in New York. So first was around the critical role of policy in creating more inclusive economies. A lot of the conversation back in North America has to do with market-based solutions and private sector, but really deeply understanding the role of policy was important. Second, the need for capacity building and skills development, not just at a high level, but for all roles in the economic system. And as His Excellency the President said yesterday, we will miss out on the opportunities that will come about from emerging sectors if we do not develop the skills that people need. When we talk about inclusive economies, it's not just about the distribution of wealth, it's about the quality of life across sectors, and again, not just about the economic indicators. We heard some innovative ideas around redesigning tax regulations and better utilizing and tapping the African diaspora, both for their capital, but also their know-how. All this will be much harder without accountable and stable governments to create the enabling environment that allows inclusivity to go. The last point I'll make is around partnership, which is something that we've been highlighting from the Rockefeller Foundation is so important. And my background is as an engineer, so I tend to think very pragmatically about how you solve problems. And if I think simply of a framework, is that there are actors who could be partners. There is the process by which they could partner in terms of strategies, theories, metrics, ideologies, and then there are outcomes. And what I have noticed is when partners operate or decide to collaborate at the process level, you get into a lot of discussion and you get into a lot of compromises and you get into, frankly, a lot of uncreative ways to partner or take advantage of distinctive capabilities. What I find kind of compelling is if actors can agree to an outcome that they want to partner with and then pick and choose the best process, framework, indicators, theories to accomplish that, and to really test out those process pieces in real life to see if they accomplish something. As Frank mentioned yesterday, having goals will be so important. And so I would encourage all of you, as you think about partnering with many of the organizations that have come here, and as we will continue to think about it, to think about what is the goal or outcome that that partnership seeks, and how can different partners take advantage of their differences to realize that goal in a way that could not be realized otherwise. And I think that would be a very exciting way to make progress on this conversation. And with that, Mamadou?
Thank you. I'm actually
sorry,
going to just take, Mamadou's going to be our last voice.
Okay, sorry, I apologize.
Thank you very much. Would you please have your next?
Yeah, thank you very much, Michael. I will take advantage of my voice coming back to just make a few comments. And to begin by thanking Rockefeller for giving us the opportunity to be a co-convener at this forum, and to thank all of you most sincerely for your ideas and views and challenges that have been thrown to us. The issue about making a difference, to make a change, if I want to borrow somebody's words, change that we can believe in, so that we're not, and yesterday we were also challenged by the president to come up with new ideas, not just to recycle the wheel. And we have certainly been, all of you have made a lot of ideas that we can take forward and begin to apply to our work. to ensure that we're not just coming here to talk. This is yet another forum to talk and go away and do nothing. I just want to reiterate the point that we believe at ECA that we now have a window of opportunity to harness the good economic performance for the well-being of Africa's people. And for us at ECA, the inclusive and sustainable agenda for Africa has become the defining core in our institutional retooling. Again, I want to stress that for us, achieving inclusive growth and development is not simply about increasing the size of national economies, but learning and shaping enduring opportunities that take the rights of individuals into consideration. And for me, that is about accountabilities. We've said quite a bit about accountabilities. And it is the accountability to ordinary people, the farmers, the small processors that we've spoken about a lot over the last 2 days, that should inform the work that we do and how we strive to make a difference in people's lives. Rockefeller has already partnered with us in our cost of hunger in Africa studies, but we see this as the beginning of an enhanced partnership together with our sister organization, the African Development Bank, that we already work with, and the African Union Commission. And as I said again, we look forward to developing partnerships with many of you in this room. Codesria is another valued partner that we have been working with. If I was to enumerate all the partnerships, we'll be here for a long time, but we look forward to that. And as Zia just said, not to be bogged down by the processes, but to agree on the outcomes that we wish to achieve and to work creatively through them to try to make a difference in the lives of people in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tachida. Valerie?
Thanks very much. I realize I'm standing between you and lunch, so I won't take too much more of your time, but wanted to, again, thanks Rockefeller, the Rockefeller Foundation, thank the ECA as well for organizing this. I think it's really important that the different shareholders, stakeholders get together and discuss these types of questions. And make just a couple of points. The first is that between the theory, if you will, and the practical, I think everyone's talked about what is inclusive growth, what are inclusive economies and the like. And before thinking about the comments I was going to make, I quickly looked up the Kenya country strategy paper. Our country strategy paper is essentially a compact, if you will, between government and, that is in our case, the ADB, but what you will do over a certain time horizon for the country. That is, what sort of development goals will you have? And I was quite happy to find that in the CSP for Kenya 2014-2018, there are 2 pillars. The first pillar being infrastructure. So the kinds of things we talked about that increase inclusivity, such as electricity, ports, regional integration. And the second pillar is developing skills for emerging labor market, with a particular emphasis on youth and on women. And I say this simply because from the theory of, excuse me, how do we have inclusive growth? When you drill down to where you're working, who in fact you work for, I think all of us work for the people on the continent, there is a dialogue that happens and there is an agreement that is reached in terms of how you will take forward that idea of development. And I think it's important because many people here today spoke about how will development, inclusive growth happen if you don't have a willing partner in government. And of course, it is important to have somebody on the other side to speak to. But we do want to say that even in the absence of a partner who you may feel may not be as democratic or as open and the like, there are peer pressures. There is a process by which you arrive at an agreement as to what development that the country wants to have. Actually, just 2 more points before finishing up. On the issue, I think, of inclusiveness, I've taken away the role of technology in that inclusiveness. I believe there is here a provider that allows you to use a software to simply scan and see whether or not medicine that you have is counterfeit or not. We've also spoken about, of course, M-Pesa, and we're looking at trying to build that model in West Africa that is so prevalent here. And in terms of services and inclusiveness, I think we also want to make the point that there is a quantity aspect. So we can have, for example, universal education for all. And there is the quality aspect in terms of what exactly are you teaching, and is that the right type of skill, even if it's in vocational and technical education, is that what you require in order to have the growth that you look for? So I wanted to end here. And again, thanks everybody around the table in the room for this. And we look forward to working in closer collaboration with our partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you give your vote of thanks or closing remarks, Mamadou, I would like yours to be the last voice that we hear. So I'm going to give a few housekeeping announcements that need to be made. One of which we started with POCN yesterday morning, if you recall. There are a couple of points that Michael wanted me to make on his behalf. Just to let you know, we had 3,090 POCN interactions earlier today. Secondly, our survey questions, and I want to make sure, please don't rush away and not do the last, as the board is outside. We had 589 hits. And so that's, again, the M&E information that will be gathered for Rockefeller. We appreciate that. But please do the last session. In terms of our top 3 Poconauts, learning new language here, Fani Lotier gets the prize. She had 53 people poking, and she poked. And then Ibrahim Asal, you were second with 49. And then Eric Chinji, who had 48. And so, again, we're keeping statistics on everything now. Please also sync your POCN with Michael before you take off. That downloads all the information onto your particular POCN account. Okay? So please, let's keep this going. And thanks also, Rockefeller, for introducing POCN to some of us who might not have used POCN in the past. Also, for those of you who are flying today, please, there are ushers outside. They need to know what time you are traveling so that we can make sure that everybody gets back to the airport on time. Thanks again, everyone. This is my last word. It's been excellent. And please, Mamadou.
I will try to be very, very short. But there are things that I just can't not say. It's just because of the passion and the interest around this. But I just want to say that many of us actually, over the past year or maybe years before, have been to many meetings like this one, where we discuss the future of Africa, where we discuss what needs to be done. And I must admit that there were many good ones of those meetings. But my hope, since we've started the idea and we started planning this, was really that this one will be different. And this one will bring something more than the other ones. Apart from really generating enthusiasm, generating ideas and commitment to action. Also, that this forum actually provides also that platform to push that commitment forward. And whatever really our next steps would be individually or as an organization as we go forward, one thing really that I would like to emphasize is that the only way to push the agenda is actually through partnership. We have whatever we're going to achieve, whatever we're going to do, we're going to do it through partnership. And we are committed really to support that because the barriers are big. I don't want to scare you, but there are also many opportunities. But to really overcome those barriers, to harness the opportunities, no one organization, no one institution, no one actor can do it alone. We have to do it together. For us as a foundation, this is also a platform for learning and informing our work, as Zia said earlier. And we will definitely act upon that. And one of the first action is that I'm really pleased to announce that really as a way forward from our discussions today, the foundation will be intense in the next few days, weeks, to seed a fund that we will call an Inclusive Economies Accelerator Fund. This fund is going to support research, continuing the convening, providing the platform for exchange, but also support the sort of innovative approaches, innovative business models that can help actually make a dent, have an impact on poverty and build more inclusive societies. Some of the initial ideas are really on how we can support SMEs, how SMEs that actually demonstrate in their business models inclusivity, whether they are startups. And it is not just about money, because as we know, it's sometimes difficult, but ultimately it's not the most difficult. When we have good ideas, we get the money. But the other thing that these organizations, these businesses need to strive is also the network, the linkages. They also need the mentoring. So this is why this fund, we don't see it just as a financial fund, but we see it also a fund that brings expertise also to provide that accompaniment, those linkages, that mentoring. We can see also that fund as potentially supporting also bigger corporates that may not be African, but that work in Africa, but that are interested in making their business models more inclusive. We are already using our philanthropic tradition to help test those new approaches, see how they work, and work with others to take them to scale. Today, I have to say that even the African Development Bank and our friends from Microsoft have committed to contribute to this fund. And we are also looking forward to discussing with many, many more partners actually to grow this fund. But what is really important is really that we discuss, manage it independently, but also put all those criteria and clear objectives, clear end goal, and really use this fund the most efficiently possible so that we can really have a clear impact. I can't finish without really thanking the African Development Bank and ECA and their leadership, although they are not here. But I think I owe it to history to say it here. Because when this idea bubbled, and I went to Tunis to meet Dr. Kaberuka and subsequently to meet Carlos to say, let's do this. The response was the same. This is important. This is critical for our continent. We are together in this. So I think that that's the bold leadership we expected, and we have seen it throughout the planning and the guiding and orientation of this. I came to know so many names that I'm meeting today for the first time, just to say all the team at AFDB, all the team, Takshiwa, your team that have been very active, and your team also, Ibrahima from Codesria, that have been very active in planning this and putting this together. So thank you very much, and please be my ambassadors really to telling to Dr. Carlos and to President Kaberuka our thanks for their leadership here. I want also, and you might find it a little bit indecent, but I cannot also close this without thanking two people. I say indecent because these people are from my organization. But there is a good reason for me to do that. Number one is I want to thank really Zia, because when we had this idea, we had meager resources. But when we went and talked to him, he said, if you need more, we will give you more. This is a great idea. So that is why we are having this. And we can proudly say, embark into really seeding this fund. And the other thing I want to say is also thank the leadership and Dr. Rodin and the ELT, because one of the things I want to say today is that if we look at the foundation's portfolio, the largest initiatives are here in Africa. And almost every global initiative includes Africa and has an impact in Africa. How else can you demonstrate a commitment of an organization to a continent? And that is thanks to the leadership. So thank you very much, Zia, and thank you to the ELT. And the other person I really want to thank, through her, all my colleagues at the Rockefeller Foundation and the Africa Regional Office, is Mwihaki. Mwihaki there. Everyone has really colleagues from New York, from Bangkok, also everyone in the office has really greatly contributed to this. But Mwihaki has been really a good anchor, a good leader, a good, how do you call it? In Francais, we say trait d'union, hyphen, between the different organizations and really taking the vision forward, translating it into a very successful forum today. So thank you very much, Mwihaki, for your leadership. And the last person are really Newmark and all the staff of Newmark, and their leader as well, Gilbert. I don't know if he's in the room, but Gilbert, thank you so very much for a great work that you have done. And I would like also to thank the translators, because if we are through this forum able also to address a little bit sometimes the gap between francophones and anglophones in Africa, etc., is thanks to the translator. They are invisible, but they are critical to a conversation. So a round of applause for the translators who are not visible. If you list, you might forget. But I don't want to forget anyone who have contributed to this. So thanks to everyone, but the person also I want to recognize where is Michael Sugarkasa, as a facilitator, has been also a great, a thoughtful, a provocative, facilitator that contributed to the quality of the debates. Thank you. So with that, I really want to thank each and everyone, even if I haven't mentioned you, and wish you, I trust that we are all going here with one commitment, at least. You don't need to tell us now, but I think that you will take that commitment personally and really take it seriously and act upon it. And that's what I think that it takes to make a change. Until we see again, I really want to thank you, wish you safe travels, and all the best and success in your respective endeavors. Thank you very much.